Hi, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about a meditation technique called noting. And if you've meditated with me before, you might have heard me refer to this or explain it, but I wanted to go into a little bit further detail about this today. And I heard an analogy for this that I think was humorous but helpful too. And it is what noting is first is when we close our eyes to meditate and we find our anchor point. So that might be our breath, or some people use a mantra, some people use like body sensations or sound, or like loving kindness meditation is meditating on wishing love on somebody, either yourself or other people. So there's all these different anchor points that we can use in meditation. That's like the thing we go back to in between what comes up in our mind, which is the thinking part, right? So every time we, let's say, use the example of our breath, every time we get lost in thought, we realize we're thinking and we come back to our breath. That realizing that we're thinking can be called noting. And that just means that every time we notice we do it, we just say thinking in a kind and gentle way, and then we come back to whatever our anchor point is. And the analogy I heard was that a lot of times we'll take that as like make it a mission to think as little as possible, or really bust ourselves thinking, and they referred to it as playing whack-a-mole. And I thought that was a funny analogy, but it's really how sometimes we take on meditation, is like catching ourselves doing it wrong, right? And we make it like a task that we are setting out to be good at, or be successful at, instead of just what we're trying to do with meditation is notice what our mind does anyway. Whether you've been meditating a short amount of time or a long period of time, your mind wanders. And no matter what your anchor point is or how focused you are, your mind automatically is going to think, because that's what our minds do. And so what we do instead of playing whack-a-mole is we just watch and note in a kind and gentle voice of just, I'm thinking again. And that's how we develop the watcher inside of our mind, without creating shame or another thing in our life that we feel like we're inadequate at, when we already judge ourselves so harshly most of the time. So not making meditation another negative thing in our life, but just a way of noting what our mind does anyway. And then we're better able to see, like, wow, look how many times my mind wanders and I get lost in thought when I'm coming back to this anchor point over and over and over. And that's all we're doing, is just noticing how our mind is. And that's really mindfulness meditation, or a noting meditation. So let's just try it for a couple minutes, because I think as soon as we learn something, if we try it right away, it's way more effective, and then go out and teach somebody else that today. So go ahead and find yourself in a comfortable position. Just roll your shoulders back and down, and try to pull the top of your head up just a little bit, so you have a nice straight spine. You can rest your hands comfortably on your lap, and then if it feels good for you, go ahead and shut your eyes. Some people just prefer to have a gaze down, and that's fine too. But just come to your anchor point. So let's use our breath today. So close your eyes and just notice, not controlling or changing our breath, but where do you feel the breath the most in your body? Maybe you notice the sound of your breath the most, like that oceanic sound of inhaling and exhaling. Maybe it's that you feel the rise and fall of your chest or your belly. Maybe you feel the temperature of the air coming in and out of your nostrils. Whatever it is for you, just picking your anchor point, and then just start to notice. And usually it's a breath or two or three before we get this practice of noting. Just touching in softly, noting, thinking. And peacefully back to your anchor point. Gently back to your breath. Thinking. That's it. That's all we have to do. Just a minute or two is all it takes for us to realize how much our mind races and how much we get lost in thought, and how to gently and kindly just note that we're thinking and then come back to that peaceful place, that anchor that we have. So let's practice that all day today. Teach it to somebody that you know and care about, and then we'll get better at it over time. Getting better doesn't mean that we stop the thinking. It just means that we notice it more often. Throughout the day, we notice when we're somewhere beautiful and we're, instead of being there, we're somewhere else. Or there's something joyful happening in our life, and instead of being there, we're somewhere else. And just bringing yourself gently back. Just say, come on back, sweetheart. We're right here. This is where we are right now. We're not in the past. We're not in the future, but we're in this really amazing miracle of a moment. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for being here.